I will say this: I did grow up a Bears fan, and the fact that we helped the Bears a little bit just makes me a little happier. So, the Bears. But thanks, guys.
Thank you, George. We got Fred here for you guys.
The Bears. I fucking love the Bears.
We're back. Let's go. Oh yeah. What is happening? Wait, edit. How we do today, Jake? This thing's messing up on me.
I don't know what's going on here.
Oh,
now try it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. We got Money Mitch. The Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way. Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
Sign that is. What if I told you 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought?
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Great practice, everybody.
You are ridiculous.
We are live on Brags in the Stands, having some technical difficulties this morning. I am your host, Gregory Braggs Jr., and this is my co-host, producer, graphic design extraordinaire, Jacob Hovanek. Welcome back. Sunday morning special. For whatever reason, my Facebook is having trouble streaming today, so you can only find us on YouTube and Twitter at the moment this morning. We are efforting it, but I don't know what it's doing either. And I've removed it, and then I've tried to re-add it. I've never seen this thing come up before, and who knows? Who cares? We'll figure it out. I'll try to add it to the page, see if that works. I tried to add it to my personal Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook on my personal account or our show page account, either way. But for today, Facebook's giving me some issues, and that's okay because we're going to have some fun. We got a real special guest coming up. As you saw on the pregame show, or the pre-show flow, as we used to call it, George Kittle professing his love for the Chicago Bears. And I got to say, we love him too here because the 49ers and George Kittle did us a huge favor yesterday. And I sent out a video early in the morning to George Kittle, begging him to get the win. And if he did, I was going to happily send along some charitable money his way to the charity of his choice. You know how we are here at Braggs and Stan, Jake. We love to give back. And so when the 49ers won the game, I sent out a tweet to him because Can Inman, had tweeted what his comments were in the post game. So I said, hey, George, name that charity. And just a few minutes later, there he is naming the charity. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends, the best tight end in football for a lot of people's money. I know he probably helped a lot of people get to their fantasy championships and everything else. And he chose the University of Iowa's Stead Family Children's Hospital. And, for those of you that aren't familiar with college football and some of their traditions, what they do at Iowa is a pretty cool tradition during their Iowa football games. The Stead Family Children's Hospital is within viewing distance of where the bleachers are, and everyone in the stadium, the Iowa football stadium, will turn around and wave to all the kids that are in the hospital watching the game from, way up in, whatever floor that is in the building. And it's a really cool moment. So that was the charity he chose. Obviously he's from Iowa, George Kittle, now, a superstar in the NFL. So we were happy to contribute in our way. I pitched in $100, and I also gave, a little incentive to Bears fans on Bears Twitter. So I want to share this message along. For those of you that don't know, you still have a chance to donate to George Kittle's charity, to, give back to the gift that he gave us. And this is the incentive I'm giving you to do. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Braggs from Braggs in the Stands, and we've got a special announcement tonight. I asked George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Arizona Cardinals tonight, and then all he had to do was name that charity, and I was going to make sure some money got donated that way. And that's exactly what he did, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. And I've already donated $100 to the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, and I want you to do as well. And you know what? I'm going to give you an incentive. Since it's the Christmas season, I'm feeling the giving. George Kittle gave us an absolute gift. So Bears fans, I need you to step up to the plate, and you are going to get this gift. A signed Charles Tillman jersey with a certificate of authenticity, Peanut Punch, the man, the myth, the legend, heading to the Hall of Fame one day, I have no doubts. But George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in football, did us a huge favor, stepped up in the pocket, and now I need you, Bears fans, to do the same as well. So that's all you got to do. Donate a minimum of $5 to the University of Iowa's Stead Family Children's Hospital, and you'll have a chance to win this jersey. I'll send it right to your house, safe and sound, and you'll have a Merry Christmas. We really appreciate it, George, and we're happy to contribute to the charity of your choice, and that's what we're going to do here. We know you love the Bears, and we love that what you did for us today. We appreciate it. Thank you to the 49ers. Thank you, George Kittle. Let's step up, Bears fans. He did for us, and always bear down. Let's go. We're back. There it is.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to do it upright here at Braggs and Stands. It's what we do here, and we want to help people out. So if you donate at least $5 to the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, and I've tweeted out the link, so I would have had it ready today, but we've been running around trying to get this stuff ready for you guys this morning. Donate to it, screenshot the tweet that I put out with that video, and show it to me, and then you'll be entered in the chance to win the Peanut Tillman signed jersey. So excited to do that, but really excited to bring our guy Brendan here. I just spoiled his name, also known as B. Schulks. We were teasing to the fans of Bears Twitter who are familiar with your work that the reveal of not only your face, but your name would come today. So here
Big
it is.
reveal. Here it is.
The myth, the legend, Brendan, also known as B. Schultz. Welcome to Brags in the Stands. You know, been a long time coming. We've been waiting to bring you on all year. You do such tremendous work breaking down the Bears. You know, how excited are you for today now that what we've seen from the San Francisco 49ers yesterday?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Kittle just gave us a playoff game, basically. This is huge. Hopefully take care of business fast here against Jacksonville, put them away. And, yeah, huge game. I'm pumped. And thanks for having me. I mean, this is great. Charity's great, already donated. Kittle's one of the best in the league, so it's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to bring you on. And, you know, as I said, you do a lot of comprehensive breakdown of the Chicago Bears on Twitter. A lot of it is over my head personally. I try to learn as much as I can, you know, and take it all in. There's so many different people that bring different breakdown strategies to Bears Twitter and social media in general for Chicago Bears, you know, fans consumption. And I've always felt that you do such a great job with it. So, you know, let's get right into it, because I know a lot of Bears fans want to know your input on this resurgent Bears offense, you know, and, you know, namely Mitchell Trubisky, you know, coming in with Bill Lazor here. And over the last 4 weeks, it's hard for any Bears fan to complain about the results. So you sent me some screenshots along that you pinpointed as some of your, you know, favorite moments or moments you wanted to highlight today. So we're going to get right into these. And we highlighted this, the A-Rob sideline ball, which was early in the game, or it was about midway through the game, correct? When he hit him over the head here.
Yeah, pretty early, second drive, first touchdown drive. And really, you know, talking about this one, so the improvement at the QB position's been obviously noticeable. Last 3 games, Trubisky 74% passing, 266 yards a game. He's averaging 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. So he's playing great. And this is on third down in the pocket, which is what a lot of this fan base wants to see. I mean, we're seeing some of the schemes, and we'll get into that later. This is just straight up him trusting A-Rob, one-on-one coverage. He identifies Harrison Smith at the top of the screen there, the one high safety, and he's going to A-Rob, you know, 99% of the time here. And it's just the perfect pass. I mean, he puts it right around where that marker is at the 10-yard line, where it's just A-Rob's ball or nobody's. Great play. Great job by A-Rob to get both feet down. Was pretty close there. And then you see the pocket. I mean, these guys are doing a great job blocking. It's definitely noticeable. We got Coward out of there. We have Bars in. Mustafa is bringing some great energy that we'll talk about later. But first big throw of the game, Bears were 6 of 12 on third down, which is great. That puts you right around the tops of the league. So if you convert at 50%, you're doing something well. Just a great pass.
100%. And as you said, that pocket is undeniable. You know, Mitch doesn't have to move around or anything. You know, Sam Mustafa, you know, I don't know if there was a bigger addition to this team here in the second half of the season. Sam Mustafa has brought so much to this team and kind of helping out everyone else around him, you know, and you see the results in not only the run game, but as you said, you pointed out right there, the passing game. Yeah. And, you know, to move on further to that point, this is what we highlighted as the Mooney jet scheme here. Yeah. And, you know, go ahead and fire away. Like I said, you're going to be able to explain this stuff much better than me, and I'll do my best to set it up for you, Brendan.
Yeah, no, absolutely appreciate it. And this is what we're seeing a lot more of. I would have liked to have seen it earlier in the season. You have a guy with 4.38 speed and Mooney, but it's also the details here too. And Trubisky under center play action has been just great for us. In this game, he was 11 for 14 in under center play action, 150 yards and a touchdown. Last 3 weeks, he's 26 for 33, 287, 2 touchdowns. So the guy's comfortable in play action under center. You see Montgomery going to the right side of the offense. Everybody's blocking right. And really, they've been running this a lot. Trubisky's going to naked boot to the left side there. And Mooney, this is what I'm loving here, is the attention to details. You see him kind of ducking on the right portion of your screen. We might have video of this, I'm not sure, but he basically held that duck behind the line the entire time, making himself hard to see for that safety. You see the safety looking to the left side, and the crashing linebackers. So
100%. And as you said, we do have video of it, and our Facebook finally shook off, and it's playing for all the people of Facebook to see your hard work. But I'm sorry, this is not the play action. This is the one we put in earlier this morning. And then here's the A-Rob sideline ball, as you said. And then to follow it up, here is the Mooney jet sweep, and we can play them over if you'd like. And you can kind of see it all go to work here.
Yeah, and you see him ducking behind that line. Just attention to detail. Good job by the staff coaching that up. Good job by Mooney executing it. And then Mitch, under pressure on that naked, has been lethal. Really has not been bothering him. Having a man in his face, it's not as easy as he makes that throw look. But they all do a great job of executing these two plays. And so that's really our first touchdown there. One, a great throw by Mitch on third down where they're 50% on the game, which is great. And then two, just executing the scheme. And you'll see this kind of as we break down more of it. You're seeing a lot of jets, a lot of orbit action by this offense. And that's really where they should be. That's where they're comfortable. And they can outflank the defense. It's a strength of their team.
Yeah, and not only was Mitch's play very nice there to get that into Mooney, with pressure coming to his face, but how slippery is Darnell Mooney? I mean, he just seems to slide through people. He's like in X-Men when the guy becomes kind of a water-like person, and you can't grab him. This is like who Darnell Mooney is. They did those superhuman qualities of each player. I think that's what Darnell Mooney's superhuman ability is. He becomes water, and you cannot grab this guy.
I love it. Yeah. He made a play later in the game where it looked like he was stopped for maybe 1 yard, got 12. Really a great fifth-round find.
He can make something out of nothing. So we'll keep, diving into this stuff. And this is the play action pass from Trubisky to Allen Robinson. And, Jake, if you have any questions as he's going through these, fire away. But Brendan, I'll let you take the reins again as I share this along to our Facebook brethren.
Yeah, so really just grabbing this one, and we'll see a couple of these. The Bears are running this concept a lot in a multitude of ways. It's a flood concept. And some fans would say to you, this is to make it more of a half-field read. The reads are more defined. What it also is, for the last year and a half, the secret to beating Nagy and co. has been sitting in these zone soft defenses. And the flood concept is basically there to beat zone by overloading the field to one side. When you have an athletic quarterback, it makes it even harder to defend, because he could obviously take off. But you'll see kind of seam stretcher is what they'd call it, is Mooney. He's kind of at the 40-yard line there. Then you have somebody in the flat, which is pretty typical, usually about 3-4 yards. So he's just testing the flat, stretching the defense out there. And then your intermediate read there at the 35 is A-Rob. And he's typically the guy Trubisky's going to be looking for on this concept. And you can see it's a window throw. He's got a decent window here. There was definitely harder throws during the game, and we'll go into them. But a real nice job getting outside the pocket quickly and then putting this throw exactly where A-Rob needed it. So really the first defined flood concept that we'll see. You'll see this a ton as long as teams keep sitting in 3 high or cover 2 defenses, which they have been against Nagy, haven't been respecting the run as much as they probably should be these last 4 games. The Bears will run this play to get them out of that zone defense.
I imagine that will change with the way that Montgomery's been playing.
Exactly. You would think so, and we might see it against Jacksonville, and that will open up the deep passing attack. So we'll see.
So what's the counter to that? Because we are seeing a lot of the flood concept, as you said, roll out in 3 different levels of options. Yep. And it seems like it's all day, as they say. Yes. He rolls out and somebody's bound to get open because Mitch is going to create enough time, and these wide receivers have enough talent to get separation, whether it be Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, or Darnell Mooney. So that's my question then. What's the counter? We know the kid's a punch-counter-punch league. So what's the defense going to do to try to keep them from doing that?
Well, really, right now it's tough to stop with how well they're executing it, but they'll go to more man defense, and that's kind of what the Bears probably want to see. They'll go to more man. They might blitz a little bit more from the edges. That's what we'll be looking at, and we might see that against Jacksonville today. It'll be interesting to see if they finally do get out of some of these softer zones that the Bears are obviously attacking. I mean, against Minnesota, this was the most they ran this concept, and it just worked pretty much every time.
Okay, so streaming right into this, and we're getting a little feedback. I'm not really sure from here. And then you're also hearing my daughter Addison screaming upstairs as she plays with her Christmas toys. So apologies to those tuning in. But we've got, as we highlighted here, this is Kmet identifying the blitz, and this is just another thing that's playing into the success of the Bears. Is it doesn't seem like defenses are getting home as often, and the Bears are picking it up and giving their quarterback enough time to make plays. So, like I said, why don't you take it away and explain to the viewers what we're seeing here?
Yeah. This is just a simple, just talking about Trubisky here. He's getting better at his reads, and you hear that a lot. Him reading the defense, and really all year I've seen his eyes just locate it faster. And we'll get into one a little bit later, or potentially we could skip ahead after this one, where he hits Monty on third down as well. But just getting better with his eyes. He sees the linebacker here that I have circled creeping up. Actually, if you watch this play, the linebacker tries to bluff back, but ultimately does blitz. And so he identifies him pre-snap. Kmet also, you could see him at the close part of your screen there, taking note of where the linebacker is. Kmet's going to just sit in that hole when the linebacker blitzes. And for a rookie, Kmet's done a really good job of being that safety blanket that Trubisky really didn't have last year. These guys are getting really good at tag teaming the blitz, and you see him there. So now the linebacker has blitzed. Kmet has identified the hole, and it's just pitch and catch for 5 yards, which we'll take on second down there. So just a quick read by Trubisky pre-Kmet on the same page, and you really like to see it from the young tight end.
100%. Finally, they get Cole Kmet involved, not only in the passing game, but just, out on the field. And he brings a lot to the table. You hope he can become George Kittle, who we saw here to start the show. He's certainly as big as George. Do you think he has that kind of trajectory, or is that putting a little too much gas under his flames?
Well, Kittle's the best in the world at it, but I will say, everything I've seen from Kmet is promising. I mean, it takes tight ends at least a year to develop in this league, usually 2, and he's already making a huge impact in the second half of the season. You would have liked to have seen him earlier in the season, and it's not just through the pass game. It's the rushing game as well. I think we have a couple shots of him and Jimmy Graham blocking downfield. And that makes the Bears more multiple. They're a very obvious run-pass team last year and the first half of this year, but makes them scheme a little bit more diverse. They could be running or passing with a lot of the looks they're giving with Kmet and Graham on the field, and we'll see that later. So.
Well, I'm excited to see it. The Bears got to step up today here, and we appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. We're finally getting our feet under us. Facebook giving us a little issues to start the day, but we're shared along on all platforms and ready to go here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And this is the infamous B Schultz from Twitter. I don't know if anybody's ever put the face to the name. Have you ever posted your face on Twitter? Because you were like this infamous guy, and I always give crap to Twitter accounts that are the anonymous. And that's not to say that I don't trust anonymous accounts. I do. But anonymous accounts, you got to kind of feel, it's a feeling out process. And I think, anybody that's ever followed your work and the way you handle a conversation on Twitter, and they can get pretty wild on there, especially on Bears Twitter. Yes. You've always handled yourself well, and you can tell you're a down-to-earth person. So it's great to put a face and a name with the Twitter account. I've always said we should have our Twitter accounts hovering over our heads like some kind of Sim City routine. So we'll just keep sliding through this stuff. We got the Wims cover 2 here, and you see Mitchell Trubisky again with another good clean pocket. Why don't you go ahead and take it away, Brendan?
Yeah, clean pocket. Just calling out this play is I think it was his first incompletion of the game. Third down, stop the drive. We settled for a field goal here. But, again, I thought this was maybe the first time when I saw it live that he was locking on to somebody, but not really the case. He's checking the seam. You can see Kmet's leg there. Checking the seam first. The The Vikings were in cover 2 here. Didn't want to force it, and you're seeing that a lot from Mitch. He's not forcing balls because they're moving the ball well on first and second down, and he has faith in the system, I think. So at first looked like a misfire to Wims, just slightly outside. I mean, the ball did touch his fingertips, would have been a tough catch. But you could see Wims is getting held on the break and actually somewhat slipping. So the throw was actually right there again. Would have been a first down, but ended up costing us. Yeah, there we go. There's a
my bad. I did it in the wrong order. This was the first shot where he's starting to get open, and then this is when he turns, and there's a little grab there, which makes Mitch adjust his throw. You know, Mitch was getting a lot of criticism for not hitting his guy better there. Now, are you the type of guy that's going to give Mitch a pass when you're running the film with him, or is he got to hit that no matter what because guys are battling on every play?
No, that's a good throw. I mean, if he's not held, that's right in his hands. That's a first down. It did touch it. It did hit his hands, but he had to stretch for a tough play. You would have liked him to potentially go to Mooney. Was probably more open. He was off the screen there, but his second read was Wims. It was coming open, and just unfortunate there. I do like him not forcing the. Again, we talked about this before, and the Bears will try to beat teams out of this soft zone coverage. Vikings are in cover 2. They're baiting him on the seam there. He could try to fit one in to Kmet, but there's no reason.
Harrison is always trying to bait Mitch.
Yeah.
Always. And Mitch should know better because Eddie Jackson loves to bait Mitch at practice. I watched it many of times when they used to allow us to go to camp in our normal lives. And so Mitch should know better, for the tight ends that like to bait, but the ones that bait for a reason. They're good at it. So moving on to the next plays you got for us, and you did such a great job of organizing this for me. We've got the jet tight end Mooney here, as we labeled it. And again, you can fire away, my man.
Yeah. So a lot of jet action by the Bears, a lot of orbits. We finally handed off on one of these, and we need to keep defenses honest. The Bears are running a ton more of at the snap motions. So you're seeing that a lot, and that's been proven to be a very efficient point added play. You'll see guys moving at the point of snap. We were very low ranked in that in the beginning of the year, and we're climbing up the rankings, and you see it.
Now, is there a difference between pre-snap motion and then they're set when it's snapped and motion that's moving as the ball is snapped?
Exactly. Yes, there is. And so, pre-snap motion can help your quarterback with a lot of reads. We didn't do it enough in 2019. We're doing it more now. At the snap motion has kind of become the new fad. You've seen the teams that were at the top of the league in this last year were teams like the Ravens and the Niners, teams that went deep into the playoffs. This year, if you look at those statistics, a lot of the playoff teams are doing the at the snap motion.
So on a play like this, what would you consider this then in that regard?
Yeah, so it was an at the snap motion where Mitch just hands it right to Mooney on the jet. And then we're calling out in this picture the blocking. So Jimmy Graham's the one circled, and then Kmet's actually doing a cut block on his defender who's backing up. These guys have been paving the way the last couple of weeks, and actually Jimmy Graham during one of his press conferences leading into this week was talking about just that. They're taking it personal. They're having fun blocking out there. I know Jimmy Graham's not known for his blocking per se, but he's done a great job. And Kmet's just been off the charts for a rookie.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we'll move on here to the play action naked Graham. And was this the laser ball that he threw in the first half that had my ears perked up as maybe one of the best throws he's had all year?
It is, yeah, and it definitely was. We might even have video of this one.
We do, and I can play the video first and come back to the screenshot because, man, was this a hell of a throw here from Mitchell Trubisky, and I can play it a few times. So go ahead and break down what you're seeing, and I'll click on it a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another flood concept. So you see the guy in the flat. You see, I think, A-Rob testing deep, and then Graham is the intermediate look. And the way Mitch gets his hips around fast, not worried about the defender who's right in his face, this is an elite throw. You see where he uncorked it. He's trusting Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham talked about this throw in his interview as well, just, calling it one of the spectacular throws that Mitch is making. So if the scheme is run by a lot of smart teams, Jared Goff, the Rams run it a lot, but you need to have the right quarterback to execute it, and the Bears do, with an athletic quarterback in Mitch that has the arm talent to get around and deliver this ball.
It's really encouraging to see him just kind of processing his reads in the field the way he has now in the second half of the season. It's really, really encouraging to see him making that step.
Right, because he knew, as Brennan says, when he turned his hip so fast and fired it, he knew before he turned that was where it was going. And sometimes Mitch can get criticized for, being like not seeing, but there he was convicted. I'm going to make sure I put this in there. That's where it helps to, feel it and throw it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Defenders' heads turned, and Mitch trusts Jimmy Graham a lot. He's made a couple trust throws to Graham for sure. And I think actually the next set of picks we have, he got criticized for this one.
Yes, this is the bait. This is when he's, as we were talking about earlier with Harrison Smith enjoying the baiting. And again, I can play the video, but we can go through the screenshots first, and then I'll play the video and go ahead and explain how Harrison Smith is baiting Mitchell Trubisky here.
Yeah. So, and it's an all pro bait and play really. And it's unfortunate because we'd be talking about this play a lot, I think. So again, flood concept, you got your short route, you have A-Rob running it out and up, which allows this bait. You'd almost like to see A-Rob just run, just go straight deep. But longer developing play. It's interesting here because Harrison Smith might not have even been the guy that should have been on A-Rob. There's confusion pre-snap on this play. And so Mitch thinks that Smith is going to go up on the out and up with A-Rob. Smith is reading Mitch's eyes, and he's going to ultimately break this throw up. But if you look at where Mitch is throwing the ball, or when he's throwing the ball to Jimmy Graham there, he's trusting Graham to get out in front of the linebacker. He's putting it in a spot where only Graham could get it, high and outside, until obviously Harrison Smith breaks this up. But the throw is right there. It's probably one that he should not make, but it is also a very elite throw where he puts that ball. And impressive stuff. He also clearly has zero respect for the Vikings running back that gets killed by Smith on this play. but yeah, it's a great throw. It's a better play by Harrison. Decision is questionable at best.
Sure. So moving on, and I think I might have missed this. This was the.
Yeah, that's the breakup.
That was the breakup there. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was the breakup as Harrison sneaks in. And some more blitz pickup stuff that we wanted to cover was, we talked about Cole Kmet picking up the blitz, but this is David Montgomery picking up the blitz. So why don't you go ahead and explain what we're seeing here?
Yeah, this is a huge play for the Bears. So the Vikings had scored at the end of half and then a touchdown to begin the second half here. And the Bears are in third down after basically giving up 10 unanswered points. First time they've had the ball probably in 40 minutes, 3rd and 4. And we need this play basically. And obviously it's well documented our third quarter struggles. So what happens here is Zimmer's trying to fool Mitch into throwing to Kmet where that red line is coming across. Originally, they're showing the blitz on the right side of the defense, just kind of bluffing that right side blitz, and they're going to come from the left. So you see Harrison Smith and I believe one other guy coming from the left side. Vikings are hoping that Mitch misreads it and thinks 50's coming when he's dropping back into coverage on Kmet. Mitch makes the right read, though, sees where the blitz is coming, probably pre-snap because this happened pretty fast. And he's just going to loft it over to Montgomery, who's just been, a revelation really in the passing game for us and deserves the looks he's getting. So this ends up going for, I think, about 15 yards on third down. And ultimately, the Bears score a touchdown on this drive that they absolutely needed. But again, it's a great job reading the coverages that you might not have seen.
Because like you said, I think maybe even in the early season this year, what he got pulled for was throwing across the middle to, and not seeing the tight end that's about to jump into the screen. It was against the Falcons, and he almost had one against the Giants that was similar. But here, he, he sees it because you can see as he's dropping back there, he's got his eyes towards 50. At least it looks to be in that picture. So it's nice to see him reading stuff. And that also comes with being comfortable back there. And Nick Foles has to be, he couldn't make the reads with the line they were having behind him too. You can't, it's hard to get comfortable. Your eyes are going to move faster when you don't trust what's in front of you. Now, all of a sudden they got that middle of the line figured out, which is making everybody on the line play better. And as you said, got David Montgomery and Cole Kmet identifying blitz pickups correctly. And now all of a sudden Mitch is cooking. Surprise, surprise, and then there's the result of reading said blitz. Instead of going over the middle to the covered tight end, you get David Montgomery wide open with a blocker ahead. So that's exciting stuff. It really is the way you describe it in that way, because you want to get David Montgomery more involved in the passing game. When we initially drafted him, he was billed as the Kareem Hunt for the Bears, that Matt Nagy identified, Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs. They came there and he blew up right away. And here it's taken 2 years for David Montgomery to finally, come on the map, but it might be too late, but
it took
maybe
some
not.
dedication by Matt Nagy to actually let him do his thing too. So now they're letting him run, and they're getting him involved.
Absolutely. So we'll just keep filing through this stuff because you've got some great stuff and we're learning a lot here at Brags in the Stands with our guy Brendan, also known as B Shulks, the man of Twitter, the Mitch Trubisky truther. He's a part of my pack. That's right. I was called King Truther by one Christopher Black, and I take that as a compliment. So moving on, we are identifying this screenshot as the hook concept for Mooney. So go ahead and take it away, Brendan.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say on Monty, if you want to see him coming out of college, a great tape on YouTube is his Oklahoma State game. You'll see how good of a pass catcher he was as a prospect. So
100%.
Hook concept Mooney. So yeah, the Bears run a lot of this. So play action. Like I said, Mitch has been lining it up in play action the last 3 games. And they run this a lot. So a couple things happening here. Like we spoke about at the snap motion for Miller right there. So they'll do that a lot with Miller or Mooney at the snap motion, just trying to grab the linebacker's eyes. They're going to go play action to Monty. And typically here, the Bears have run, 2 hooks is normally what they're going to run, but they're running a lot of variations off of this. And this time, Mooney's actually going to cut across. And I think we probably have video of this as well. You can see the linebackers, they kind of drop into their slots, expecting probably hooks, and Mooney cuts it across. And this is a throw Mitch makes really well. And I'd like to see it more often, honestly. Less clutter in the formation. We've gotten away from these 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. And kind of got into something that both helps the line and helps Trubisky with window throws here. And so you can see the window here. This is actually probably, while it's one of his longer throws, it's one of his easier throws. Robinson's just clearing out the space, deep portion of the screen there, and Mooney's going to come across.
Yeah, like I said, it's with Mooney. He's been the most exciting player for me this team. He reminds me of Deshaun Jackson in a lot of ways. We did have a video of him. I don't know if this is gonna mess up what we were trying to get at later, but we can maybe get into this now. But it's Trubisky, a play action sideline to Mooney here, and in only a half a year's time, they barely had much time to play together, training camp and everything else. They seem to be very comfortable.
Yeah, they do, and Mooney's an extremely smart kid. I mean, it's been impressive to just listen to him talk about the game. But you can see even the linebackers as Miller's coming across there, they remember that jet action to Mooney where Mitch handed it off, and you can see they start to shift, and that's what you're doing at the snap motion. You're making those linebackers' eyes extremely uncomfortable. No reason for the Bears not to have been running this earlier. Glad they are now. And they're doing it really well. So they've adjusted their scheme, and credit to Nagy there. He's gotten very multiple, very less predictable with the run game, pass game, and his players are making plays.
It's exciting stuff. It's really exciting stuff. Finally. And, another guy, we keep bringing up Sam Mustipher as, one of the big names to really turn this whole thing around. As crazy as that sounds, as someone that a lot of people didn't have on their radar in the preseason, but another guy from the University of Notre Dame, and I'm a Notre Dame football fan. I got my helmet right behind me, and we're about ready to get beat down by Alabama in the college football playoff. So I'm excited for that, but at least they're in, I'll give them that, but I give them no chance of winning, unfortunately, in the college football playoff. I know a few people will be pissed at me for saying that, but it's the truth. But these guys here in the NFL are playing some football. I mean, it's not just on the Bears. They're on it. There's Notre Dame offensive linemen all across the league playing well. Finally, we've got a couple in-house, thanks to Harry Heastan, who Matt Nagy ran out of town, apparently. And now Alex Bars is picking up the energy. You're hearing it from Berlissimo, I think, pointed out maybe a month ago on Twitter, seeing him the first to come to the touchdown pile after they score. Why don't you go ahead and talk about what you've seen as far as Alex Bars and the energy he's been bringing?
Yeah, we have a couple of these, and just every time with these guys. And actually, you see Allen Robinson to the far portion of the screen. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He called this out as well. I saw it after the Rams game with Mustipher, I believe. But these guys, every time somebody's on the ground, and you'll see this with every team, every time somebody's on the ground, they're running over to pick them up. And that's contagious energy. We have a couple more shots you could flip through if you want. There's one, So here it is. So actually, again, a flood concept here where Mitch has nothing open. This is third down, I believe. He runs for the first here, which would ultimately set up the touchdown. But what we're calling out here is you see Bars over there circled far side of the screen. He's going to be one of the first guys over to help Mitch up on the other side of the field here. You love to see that stuff. You're seeing it more from the team. They're a cohesive unit right now, and they're all and that's him over there at the end of the play after Mitch makes the run. So really like what I'm seeing. A-Rob's involved there, Leno. From the team as a whole, this team didn't quit when they're 5-7, and that's a lot of credit to the staff and to these young guys. They're playing with a ton of heart. So.
Well, they're a team playing with a chance, and now they're a team playing that controls their own destiny. And I said that to Jenny last night as we were watching the game. The Cardinals have been struggling here, so it was obvious that the Bears had a legitimate shot to make the playoffs. They have to win out. Well, now they don't have to win out, which is kind of what opened up about yesterday. But I think Bears fans were like, all right, take care of our own business and let's see what the Cardinals do. But had they lost the last week of the season as opposed to this week, the mentality of what the Bears are doing is totally different. They don't know if they control their own destiny. They are just playing to make sure they control. Now they know. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Matt Nagy can walk into that locker room before the game right now, look at his team, and say, it's time. We have now been given a second chance. And you're seeing that energy across the entire field. You're seeing it. Allen Robinson he's made tremendous plays for 3 years, but there's no denying at the beginning of the season, boneheaded, whatever definition you want to call for some of the plays. Some of them are just timing, happenstance, luck, defender making a good play. And other times, he has to take his own accountability, and they weren't of Allen Robinson's reputation. Now, all of a sudden, you're seeing extra effort from Allen Robinson. What do you see on this play here, Brendan?
Yeah, I love this one, and this has a story behind it too. So again, it's a crosser. It could have been a hook play, but Robinson crosses. Runs a great route. Mitch with the 3/4 delivery there. He's really comfortable with that type of throw with the guy coming through the middle. And A-Rob does not step out of bounds here. I think he obviously took it seriously after the Lions game. Right. I forget who made a comment, maybe Jimmy again, about how the team was challenged on Yak. And we were one of the worst teams in the league last year on Yak, and we have not been that great this year until the last 4 games or so. You see him not go out of bounds there. We saw him, more of a mental error against the Lions, I would say. But we've struggled with these Yak plays last couple of games. not happen. We're getting yards after the catch, and that's just so big to an offense. And it wasn't just Robinson. Miller stepped out of bounds against the Lions at a key time where he had more yards in front of him. It's just not happening. And that's another thing Kmet brings too. I mean, the team sees him fighting off, 3, 4, 5 guys not going down. Yeah, that's contagious. So they're playing hard. They're playing the right way. It's a lot of momentum.
Yep. Exciting stuff, a lot of momentum. Another guy that's been carrying a lot of momentum. We've been talking a lot about the pass game, but how about David Montgomery in this run game? This was a few weeks ago in the beatdown against the Texans, which we hope to see again today. David Montgomery showing off the burners here. Did you ever expect him to ever have a 80-yard touchdown where he pulls away from defenders? He gets all this crap for not being the fastest back in the league, but he showed it off there.
No, absolutely. Yeah, he's been a revelation. I mean, anybody that follows Montgomery's story, watches his college film, you couldn't have a higher character person in the locker room, couldn't have a tougher person in the locker room. We know what he could do after contact. It was obviously, this is an RPO, by the way. Right read is made. Defensive end is held by Mitch and having to respect the run. And then, just pushes one guy aside and puts on the Jets and shows some speed, which is, definitely good to see from him. But yeah, he's been nothing but great.
It's been a lot of fun, and I'm sure he's another guy that's been Mitch and David Montgomery carrying people into their fantasy championships. Who would have thought, and sprinkle in some Darnell Mooney action there too. I mean, Cairo Santos, he's probably a good one to pick up. They're all making money for him. Like I said, I'm getting a little feedback on my end. If it's me, I'm sorry. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I got a brand new computer today, so maybe that has something to do with it. I didn't. Jenny set it up for me last night because I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll get all our kinks worked out. At least my camera looks good now, right? Does it look good? Do I look good now? Finally, it was blurry before.
You look better in low definition, in my opinion.
That's right.
How about them Bears?
Oh, let's go. That's our Jimmy Johnson. I don't know who that guy is, but that is our Jimmy Johnson. So moving, very quickly, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We have a few things to do after we cut you loose as far as pick'ems and Johnny B for threes picks and his game day picks. But I did want to talk about the defensive side of the ball for a quick minute. And in particular, Kendall Vildor, you had highlighted some screenshots, and I'm pretty sure I had a video of him as well, making some plays. Why don't you talk about, Kendall Vildor having to step into the role because Jalen Johnson has been injured and what you've seen from him?
Yeah, I'm excited about this kid. I was excited really when they drafted him in the 5th round, Georgia Southern. So real sticky coverage. He thrives in press man. Probably a little bit more than zone. This is him locking up Jefferson for one of our first sacks of the game. This is the Robert Quinn strip sack. But calling out here, just his eyes are always on Cousins. He plays physical. His eyes are always in the backfield, which you don't always see from a young corner, especially first start against somebody as good as Jefferson. But yeah, this Cousins was looking for Jefferson here, had to pull it down because Vildor is all over him. So great to see that. And then I think we have a couple other shots. Yeah, here's him locking up Thielen. Again, look at his eyes. He's got 4.4 speed, not worried about getting beat deep. He's physical, obviously. You could see that there. And then the eyes, again, he locked him down here. I think Thielen complained a bit. And then later in the game, we have a shot. I think the next one. And this might be the video, too. This is him locking him down again. It looks almost identical. And really in press, I think he only allowed one reception where Jefferson actually probably should have got offensive PI. He kind of threw him aside. This is where Thielen gets the PI, which ultimately led to a touchdown later in the drive. This was 3rd down. But again, it was great coverage by the rookie. And I'm excited to see what he could do against Jacksonville with both jail and screen out.
Yeah, jail and screen out today. You're on mute, pal.
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to add the video because I had one, and here it is. Look at this. Look how fast I was with that. I didn't add it, but here was Dalvin Cook. I thought this was interesting. He chops him down, and then Dalvin even gives him respect. That's when you know you're making plays in this league, and you see a little smile from him, and then he's like, all right, I gotta figure out where I'm supposed to be. But go ahead and talk about what you see here.
Yeah, I mean, just lining them up well. Dalvin's obviously one of the hardest in the NFL to tackle here. It's funny, if you listen to this live, you could hear as Dalvin's getting tackled, him say, "Nice tackle," and as he's falling to the ground, and then he obviously gets the respect. This was, I think, the first time he was on the field this game.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah, pretty amazing to have that moment. And yeah, I'm pumped to see him.
Now you've got an extra guy. If Jalen can come back by the playoffs, I can't believe we're saying these things in my mouth, coming out my mouth hole right now. But if the Bears can now, all of a sudden, he reminds me. I mean, maybe I don't know if he's an outside guy, but you can correct me wrong. But the number might help it. But he reminds me of Cravon LeBlanc, who I loved on the Bears, and he was a great guy to me at training camp with Josh Bellamy and all those guys, along with his play on the field. And when they cut him, I was pissed. And then it came back to haunt us because Cravon LeBlanc was the one chopping us down, Adam Shaheen in the open field in the playoffs against the Eagles. So this guy kind of looks like he can take on that role, and we've missed that with Bryce Callahan, Cravon LeBlanc, and now, Sherrick McManus has been here. He's the longest tenured Bear, and he does his job, but you're looking for more. You're looking for a higher pedigree of talent. Sherrick will hold it down. He's going to be a special teams guy. He's going to always be, solid, but if you want playmakers, look at this guy attacking. He looks like he's attacking the moment. You got to respect it.
Yeah, he's the guy, and I think he can play outside, inside. I like him a lot. I think we'll see it today too. So.
Yeah, and Berlissimo's in the chat, and I apologize to those in the chat. I've been trying to pull up as many comments as I can while we sift through these screenshots and videos. But Berlissimo, does a lot of great video breakdown himself, and he wants to know from you, Brendan, what do you think about Duke Shelley's physicality we've seen here the last few weeks?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Nagy called it out too, but he's been making a lot of nice tackles. I think he had a big one against Dalvin late in the game that ultimately created the fourth down that we stopped the Vikings on. So yeah, been a really good tackler, which I know Nagy values, especially from that nickel position. That was some of the stuff that Screen could do. He was very physical as well. So yeah, Duke, also another mid-round pick that is developing into something, somebody that you could put on the field and feel good about.
100%. We're feeling good. We're 100% feeling good. I saw somebody in the chat, Matt Mahalski saying he's been pumped since Kittle said he fucking loved the Bears. And we played that video to start our show today because we loved it too. And Matt, I don't know if you know, because you're not on the Twitter sphere. And I stopped doing, charity stuff on Facebook because I find that people report you for, God forbid, trying to raise money for kids with cancer. So I don't even know what I should post on there because last time I got suspended for a few days. But Matt, if you don't realize, we're doing a Charles Tillman peanut signed jersey giveaway, in honor of George Kittle, delivering the promise of beating the Cardinals yesterday. He chose the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, and I make sure I try to get those words right. If you donate to their charity, you can be entered in the drawing to win a signed Charles Tillman jersey. So Brendan, before we cut you loose, and you did some great work here today breaking it down. I know there's a lot of guys like Samir that's in there loving what he saw from Vildor, and I know he enjoys your conversations on Twitter, and of course Berlissimo and Mitch Galloway's and Matt Bursley, all these guys, they love people that really dive into it. I'm the fan that goes to the game, gets drunk, has no idea what I'm seeing, but yells like I think I know what I'm talking about. So it's good to have guys like you that really see the game in this way. I've learned a lot of the game from Draft Dr. Phil over the last 3 years, working side by side with him. And, I enjoy everybody's perspective, and Berlissimo's and Samir's, and trying to understand the game in a bigger way, especially now that we cover it in the way that we do. So you help us bring a little respectability here to Brags in the Stands. But before I cut you loose officially and send you back into the mean streets of Bears Twitter for the day, what are your thoughts here for Bears Jags? I know we're all expecting a Bears win, but what's your overall expectations for Bears Jags and these final 2 games of the season and a chance for the Bears to make the playoffs?
Yeah, no, I think the last 2 games the Jags have played, they've been beat up pretty rough. So get off to an early start. I think the offense is going to remain clicking. I feel like Monty's going to have a big game. We talked about Vildor and Shelley a little bit. It's going to be great to get a look at them, and I think it's going to be a pretty big Bears win. I think they need to be convincing going into that Packers game. I'm one of those guys kind of leaning towards wanting the Packers to play their starters. I think we have a ton of momentum, and I want to see how that matchup goes 4 weeks after the last one. So.
Okay, and Jeremy Fourier in the chat firing his last question to you. What's your bold prediction?
I might go with 40-10 Bears.
Okay, what's your bold prediction for season outlook?
Oh, for the season,
both. I want both.
Yeah, I think we're going to win a couple games. I think in the playoffs. I think we're going to the playoffs. I think you're going to see one of the hottest teams in the league win a couple games. The NFC is wide open. I don't think we match up poorly against anybody. I think we lost a couple close games when we were not near our best, whether it was to the Rams or the Saints. We won a close one against the Bucs. But there's no team that really scares me. So I think we'll see a lot. And I'm calling a Vildor pick today.
All right. Well, I'm excited for it, and we dug deep into it, and I'll make sure to properly promote it throughout the week. Because like I said, I wanted to try to talk about the resurgence of the offense and the team itself, the energy and everything else. We all know what's at stake today for Bears Jags. Jake and I will talk about, what to expect from the entire NFL and the Bears Jags here in a minute. But I wanted to really dive deep into the difference of what we've seen from this team as opposed to that team that lost, 6 games in a row or 7 or whatever it was when I blacked out and wanted everyone fired. So again, Brendan, thank you for coming on this morning. It was a lot of fun digging in and diving deep and picking your brain here. And you did some tremendous work, of your own, sending me all these screenshots and labels and video and everything else. You did the most research of any guest we've ever had by a landslide. So that shows your effort and commitment to this team, and we appreciate it here on this show. Like I said, you've improved the caliber of this show, and I'd love to bring you on again and talk about the Bears going forward. So
Absolutely.
enjoy your football Sunday, my man. And we'll catch up with you here real soon. Hold it down on those Bears Twitter streets. They can get mean sometimes.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Brendan at B Schulks here from Bears Twitter fame. Everybody knows him as a truther. But he's just a guy that speaks facts. I guess they just line up with the facts that I like to listen to. No, like I said, everybody's kind of got their different takes, and he's kind of known as like diehard into Mitch. But, if you actually, peel back the conversation off the surface of truther crap, you can tell that he actually, really, really understands the game. And should be respected. So that was great from Brendan. It was cool to put a face and a name with it as well. So before we move on to our pick'em segment, and we're going to run through all that stuff in the Johnny B for 3 stuff quickly so everybody can get to their football fun. I do want to, of course,
up on 11 o'clock now.
Yes, sir. I do want to, of course, hit up our fan bag sponsor, little ditty, so I can make sure I give a shout out to our sponsor for the 2020 season, and that's my guy Brian Potter over at Fan Bags, and he has tremendous equipment that anybody that plays beanbags, cornhole, whatever you call it, this guy has top of the line equipment that you guys should be picking up if you haven't already for the Christmas season. It's not too late. And that B Schulks, also known as Brendan interview, was brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags
Cornhole.
Let's go.
I joined you on that one. I knew it was coming.
Next time we'll get it. We'll nail it next time.
Should we
the next time we'll nail it will be on a special, Brett. We're doing 2 episodes next week, ladies and gentlemen, for Bears Packers. We were already weeks ago, we were planning to do 2 shows for the Bears Packers week because we thought we were going to be burning it all down. But now we're going to be talking playoffs. And what's so exciting about that is we have because New Year's Eve is on a Friday, we are going to, at Brags in the Stands, we've already had an active Chicago Bear and Charles Leno be on the show. We've had former Chicago Bear Tom Waddle come on the show. We are always going to try to bring on the best guests. We're going to try to bring on the fun guests, somebody that brings in the insight. We're always going to try to bring in the home run hitters, and we are bringing in the longest tenured Bear ever. We were talking about Sherrick McManus being the longest tenured Bear, currently, but who in the chat can name who is the longest tenured Bear to ever wear a Bears uniform? That is who will be joining us on Tuesday night. I got to make sure I got all my dates right. We were, it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I haven't looked at my schedule, but this week we are having, I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday now that I think about it, because we had started on Tuesday.
I thought it was Tuesday. So you better
I gotta double check it. So, but this week this is the worst promo for a show ever. But this week, who can name it? Did we get anybody in the
we
chat?
got one here.
Jeremy Foyer, you have named it correctly. Patrick Manley, the long snapper of the Chicago Bears for 2 decades, longest tenured Bear in history, does the pregame show for 670 The Score. He does a lot of work with my guy Darren over at Bernie's Book Bank. Darren is a lifelong Packer fan who wore Patrick Manley's final game worn jersey on the final mile of our 29-mile walk that we did in honor of Bernie's Book Bank early in September and raised almost $100,000. We're trying to raise some money for George Kittle's foundation at the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. And, every dollar counts. Well, David Kaplan raised almost $100,000 for Bernie's Book Bank, and he's good friends with Patrick Manley. So we're bringing on both Darren and Patrick Manley on a early week special of Brags in the Stands. I don't want to tell you what day because I don't remember anymore, but it's going to be before New Year's Eve. Get that in, and then we'll do a pregame show. And I know I'm killing Jake, but if he had a fantasy team in a championship, I'd feel bad for him. Unfortunately, he does not. My guy
this week, I'd be killing it too.
I'm having a good week too. I had Tom Brady that went off yesterday.
I had Gaskin, Jeff Wilson Jr.
Yeah, you had Gaskin finally after all these weeks.
Yeah, he had to get COVID right before the playoffs started.
The snake has been defeated. Our guy Mark Calhoun is the first year in the league. Is most points in our league, takes down the snake. And then he's in the champion.
Brown decides to hurt his back and just leave the game.
Now
all he needed was 7 points.
Yeah, but now Mark's in the championship. Not only did first year in the league, most points in our league, which wins you money, takes down the snake, not Snake Jr., which is Eric now. Takes down, which is not easy to take down the snake. These are 3 big notches on his belt already. Now he's in the championship, and guess who he had first day out the gate? Alvin Kamara on Christmas Day, who puts up an unprecedented 6 touchdowns, 54 points in our league. So unbelievable stuff. And I almost want to congratulate Mark, but it's not quite over yet for him. We'll find out who wins our league, the last second league. This is, I'm rooting for Pete too. I told Mike that yesterday as well. So let's get right into the pick'ems, Jake. I know guys are going to get ready for their, Bears pregame warm up.
First, and we'll play Johnny's.
So let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about, Johnny's still in the lead. You're hovering. I'm nowhere to be found.
I'm 4 back from Johnny. You're about 11 back. So you need to start just swinging for the fences a little bit here.
I'm the Cincinnati Reds. I'm 11 back. I'm 11 games back. Shout out Sandlin.
So here we go. We got Minnesota at Saints. We all took the Saints. Bucks at Detroit. We all took the Bucks. Niners at Cardinals. Greg and I took the 49ers for a bit of wishful thinking that turned to pay out.
It was double for me. Wishful thinking, hedging, and also I need to gain some ground, so I need to start picking some upsets, as you said.
Smart.
So what better upset to pick than the one I'm rooting?
You probably should have went to town on these, but next week you need to just pick against all your implications of what you think will happen. But yeah, Greg and I are correct. 49ers.
I'll beat you next year. I'm not worried about
give rebirth into the Bears season. Feeling good. Johnny took the Cardinals, so I love that. Dolphins at Raiders. Johnny and I took the Dolphins. Greg took the Raiders. That one went down to the wire. Dolphins pulled it out. Now for today's games, Giants at Baltimore. So we're all taking the Ravens across the board. Browns at Jets. We're all taking the Browns. And I think they're pretty much their whole wide receiver core got COVID. So I know four of their main guys aren't even playing, but hey, it's the Jets. So we'll see. Bears at Jaguars. We are all taking the Bears across the board. You want to talk on this one for a sec, Greg?
As far as the Bears Jags game today?
Yeah,
it's interesting. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted by one of the funniest takes I've seen, a comment in chat room history. Samir, our guy Samir, who's come on from Bears Bonanza's podcast. We've had him on a few times. He says Greg's takes are a lot like Baby Yoda, powerful but needs a nap shortly after. And I've never seen a more accurate description of me in my life.
He knows you well.
So Bears Jags today. Like I said, we didn't really need to break that down too much with Brendan because we all know what's at stake. You know, the Bears have just been handed the gift from the football gods. George Kittle and company delivered on the promise and gave us new life. And if the Bears don't take that and steamroll a team that is literally trying to lose,
the Jags don't want this game.
Right.
The Jags are in prime position now to have first overall. Take Trevor Lawrence.
Exactly.
I just read something today that was talking about how, I don't know if it's true, but a lot of head coaches and GMs are really looking at the Jaguars as a hot destination because they have that first overall pick. So if you're management, you're thinking, okay,
it's even more so of a must. It was a must for the Jets, who were winless and chose to win last week to give up the right to that first pick. I mean, essentially, we played the clip of Travis Kelce Jason Kelce talking about not tanking. And I don't care if you're 0-15, you try to win. I understand that. I get where he's coming from. And as a player, you have things that are written into your contract that you are forced to play hard, or else you're not going to get that money that's on your contract. So there's a little bit of a conundrum when it comes to this conversation of what you do when you tank or not to tank, and even a team that's 0-15, because right now Trevor Lawrence is like the Peyton Manning of college football, the next Peyton Manning, the next Andrew Luck. He's that caliber of a talent, and you don't pass on a generational talent like that, whether you got to eat the 0-16 bullet or not. And the Jets chose not to. And I'm sure the players don't care because some of them won't even be there next year. But guess what? No. There are some players on that team that will be there next year. And there are obviously coaches and front office people that are more concerned on getting that Trevor Lawrence. So there's conundrum.
The Jaguars strike me as an organization that would call down and say, look, and I think that has a lot to do with why Mike Glennon's starting today, is they're like, look, you need to do the right thing here, and we need this first pick.
Well, and this is why I say it's double for the Jags and it is the Jets, because Trevor Lawrence goes to Clemson, which is the home of where, Jacksonville, Florida State, the state of Florida is home to Trevor Lawrence. So they, of all people, should know not to pass on him. The Jacksonville Jaguars have never had a guy like that, a guy that'll bring people into the stands to come see. So yeah, they're trying to lose literally, but here's the irony of what you just said, because I agree with you that them putting in, Mike Glennon over Gardner Minshew is them trying to tank. But what they don't realize is they're testing something that is bigger than your plans. And the football gods have never been kind to the Chicago Bears or the Chicago Cubs for that matter. And there is no team that I wouldn't be more surprised about than having some weird stuff happen to them like today. If you are not worried about Mike Glennon pulling some crap on the Bears. Now, obviously, the 49ers have now made this game a little like less of a, it's a heartbreaker. They lose no matter what. But I'm just saying, if the Niners had not won yesterday, you then had no conversation into next week. So it changes things a little bit. But if you're not worried about a Mike Glennon revenge game, you haven't been following the Chicago Bears your entire life. And I know I have, and just a few years ago, Robbie Gould came to Soldier Field and kicked 5 field goals to beat the Bears. No, they didn't score any touchdowns. Robbie Gould himself beat the Bears on 5 field goals. And this is what they're known for. This is what the Cubs are known for.
That's a lot. I mean, Robbie Gould was a Bears legend and was here forever. And you're talking about Mike Glennon, who played 3 games.
I understand that, but it's always the weird crap.
I know
that,
what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It's always something, with the Cubs, it's always some pitcher you've never heard of throwing a complete game shutout. And with the Bears, it's always, they're always dramatic. It's never a dull, moment with the Bears. So for anybody that's like, oh, we got this, maybe they do got this. I don't know. We're going to find out. And if they do, if they blow them out like they did the Texans, nobody's going to be, this isn't going to be a victory parade. That's what they should do. So it's kind of
James Robinson today either. It was like their biggest offensive weapon. So
it's somewhat of a no-win situation for the Bears because they win and it's okay, good for you. That doesn't impress anybody, or lose and everyone's going to be back to fire everyone mode. So I don't care. They got to take care of business. They cannot be looking ahead to the Green Bay Packers, and the 49ers gave them a gift from
if
God.
You're Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace and you drop one to Jacksonville when you can take possession of a playoff spot, that is detrimental to your prospects, I think, of being here next year.
Absolutely.
While I think if you win this game, I think they're going to be back regardless, just the way that things have,
it's got to play out still, and they can still miss the playoffs, which I think
adjustments that happened, were pretty impressive.
They deserve the credit for them, but they haven't made the playoffs quite yet. And if they miss it, I think there's still a conversation to be had about replacing people. So let's see them get it done. We got Leon Moses in the chat saying, so y'all saying we're going to knock out the Packers. I can dig it. Now, slow down there, Leon. No one has said that quite yet.
The Bears don't have to beat the Packers if they win today, necessarily.
Well, and maybe he's talking about the playoffs too. And, I can't wait for those kind of storylines and to talk about those kind of opportunities for the Bears, because let's see what they do this week. Let's see them finish the job and get in next week, however it may be. And yes, they need to beat the Packers, but, getting into the playoffs and knocking them out would be some sweet irony because, like I said, when the Packers won the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, the Bears were the team that let the Packers into the playoffs. And then then all of a sudden we met them in the NFC Championship. Jay Cutler hurts his knee in the first half, and the rest is history. The Packers beat us at Soldier Field, go to the Super Bowl, and beat the Steelers to win the Super Bowl.
Bears won that.
If the Packers win the division today, we can go back to our pick'ems, and I'm not sure if we talked about the Packers, but if the Packers win today, like we believe they will, over the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football, all 3 of us have the Packers winning. They have a decision to make next week. So, like I said, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. But if it comes to fruition and the Packers and Bears do their job, then the Packers have to decide, do we want to knock the Bears out and play for nothing, or just rest our starters and gear up for our Super Bowl run? Now, Aaron Rodgers loves putting a knife in the Bears' side, but it also is a huge injury risk when you consider we have Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn starting to look like he's getting home. So it would be a decision they would definitely have to consider. It makes the Bears game planning a little harder because you don't know what they're going to do. So we'll see how this plays out this week here in week 16, and then we can find out exactly what the Packers are going to do for us. So yeah, let's get through these pick'ems so we can send everybody packing.
Absolutely. So let's get back into this and we'll move on. We got Atlanta at Kansas City, taking Chiefs across the board. Absolutely. Cincinnati at Houston. We're taking Texans across the board. Colts at Pittsburgh. Greg and Johnny are taking the Colts. I'm taking the Steelers in this one. I just think they've dropped so many games in a row. This defense is still pretty damn good. And I just feel like they're going to pull one out. Carolina at Washington. I'm taking the Panthers in this one. Greg and Johnny are taking Washington. Dwayne Haskins is starting this game today. And I know Washington Washington has a lot of playoff hopes on the line right now for this game, but it's Dwayne Haskins. So I'm taking the Panthers in this one. But that Washington defensive line is pretty damn elite. So we'll see what happens. Broncos at Chargers. Chargers across the board. I do think the Broncos will show up in this one, but we're all taking the Chargers. Eagles at Cowboys. Jalen Hurts has played excellent football, And the Eagles are rolling right now. So here we go. Eagles at Cowboys. We're all taking the Eagles. Rams at Seahawks. Johnny and I are taking the Seahawks in this one. Greg is taking the Rams. Titans at Green Bay. All taking Packers across the board. But like I said earlier, Titans are playing really, really good football. I believe they're the number one scoring offense in the league right now. But we're all taking the Packers. I would not be surprised to see the Titans beat them, though. Buffalo at Patriots. Bills across the board. And there you go.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Our pick'ems, as we've done every week. Johnny B looks to be in control, but we'll see if Jake can catch him. And I'm bringing it up the rear, as they say. But I have as I do. And Chubbs has been our upset.
What was his pick yesterday?
He picked the Niners, and
picked the Niners.
Of course. Well, of course, Chubb's going to pick the Niners too, because we're all rooting for it, and Jake picked it as well, because we're all on the same track. Finally, a mind as one now here, Chubbs. You finally got us on your Chubbs state of mind, and yes,
I saw the perfect GIF analogy is the Godfather 3, where he said, "Just when I think I'm out, they keep pulling me back in." It's like the exact same thing, and it, like you said, it was the tale of basically 3 football seasons in one for sure, because when they went on that skid, that was it. We were just like, you don't go 5-1 and just lose 6 games in a row.
No.
And think that this team's on the right track. But then what happens? You shuffle the O-line. Yeah, Virginia goes down, gives the biggest speech of her life, rallies the troops. Things just started to come together. So we're back on the bandwagon, baby. Let's go.
Mitch pulls up. They lock Nagy in that room, and now we're back to being kings of the North. How do you like it? Look at that graphic. Once upon a time, and maybe playoffs are coming once again. Dun dun dun. So very exciting stuff. But yes, we're all on your same page now, Chubbs, and we're excited for it. We're all in for the Chicago Bears getting in the playoff.
How about them Bears?
Yeah, this should be. I'm feeling similar to you. I feel like this should just be another Texans game, and if it's not, I'd be very disappointed. Defense needs to really shut this.
This is down. And we didn't talk about that too much, but this is the get right game for the defense. They have no excuses now.
Right?
They've had the excuses you can give them. Of the offense they've been carrying them for 3 years. The injuries, Akeem Hicks last year, and then he got dinged up a little bit this year. You can roll out a few, but at the end of the day, when they start giving up the kind of points they did to the Detroit Lions in the fashion that they did, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's your turn now to step up. And this is a game where you have no excuses. They're resting James Robinson, Mike Glennon. You've seen this guy. I've watched them pick him off 4 times in one practice. So they know what he does. And if I saw somebody tweet earlier, I can't remember who it was. I believe it was EJ Jones. He said, if they don't blitz, if Pagano does not blitz the house on Mike Glennon, he's fired. Like, come on.
Yeah,
no more playing back, especially today with Mike Glennon. I don't know. I'm not the football, guy that knows the game plan, but it would stand to reason to not give Mike Glennon any time because he can't get the ball out. He's just like Foles. I said that last year, and people were laughing at me that, Foles is going to remind you of Glennon, but they're similar in that way. They're statues. It's not to say that Foles doesn't have a higher pedigree of throwing talent if you get the right line behind him. I'm just saying guys that can't move and are very limited if you can get home. So they better be sending the house.
Has anybody asked Nagy in a press conference or anything like that if he made the wrong decision benching Mitch? Has anyone asked him that question? I haven't seen it, but I'm curious if it's even been approached to him, because I would love
once they make the playoffs, it'll be a good question.
Even then, even just like seeing the you're scoring 40 plus points in 3 straight games or whatever it is, or 30 plus.
Wasn't benching 30. Mitch was the what they needed. It was benching Nagy.
Right, but that was part of the catalyst of Nagy being like, hey, you know what, it's me. Yep. But I'm curious if someone has actually asked him that, because I would love to hear some humility from him.
Yeah, because all we're hearing from the know-it-alls, as I call them, affectionately, of course. I love all you guys on Bears Twitter, but the know-it-alls are saying, well, they're simplifying the offense. It's half field reads, it's one read, and some of that stuff has been disproven, but at the same time, that's what they're saying. And
But that,
who cares? They're scoring 35 points a game. It's not simplifying if it's 35 points a game. Ryan Tannehill has thrown more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes in the last 24 games. Why? Because they run a balanced offense, and Derrick Henry is a monster. There's nothing wrong with executing your offense differently from what the Chiefs are doing if it works. I mean, geez Louise. And that I think is a great question for Matt Nagy. And as we've pointed out before, the irony of the whole thing is he needed to bench Mitch to come to the realization of understanding he needed to bench himself and his playbook.
There was something that was said last week. And I think when they came out at halftime, one of the reporters said that they had talked to Matt Nagy and he made some comment about Mitch, like, see what happens when you trust yourself. And I thought that was just really like a shitty thing to say.
Waddle hated it. I was looking into ESPN 1000 and Waddle hated it. He was
that seems like you're deflecting any responsibility.
That's exactly what Waddle said. And I was feeling the same thing in the press conferences with Matt Nagy when he was talking about, they were like, somebody asked him lobbed up a question for him, a lob up and pitch so he could hit it out as softball, as Chubbs would call it, of course, where they were like, you always talk about Mitch's eyes needing to be where your eyes are, Matt. Is he doing that now? And I did think at that moment when he asked it and then the way Matt Nagy answered it, I'm going, wait a minute, time out. Where Matt Nagy's eyes are now off his playbook. I want to know what Matt Nagy's learning watching these guys do it, not what Mitch is. Mitch is obviously doing his job and doing things right. What are you now learning, Matt? Where are your eyes at now as far as what is the correct thing to do? So, like, I do agree with you there.
Hated that comment because I thought he was making progress and understanding that it's him. But then when some success starts creeping back in, it's like he wants to revert back.
Well, there's zero credit for Mitch. There's never it's always Mitch is the mental midget, the problem, the guy we got to everybody's got to help him to be good. And it does turn into that. Oh, if you just believe in yourself, I'm sure there's a little bit of Mitch in the back of his head going, I do believe in myself. I don't know. I know Mitch doesn't mind being coached up. So he'd probably, if he was on here tonight saying, I don't mind those comments, I think there's a little bit of us trying to put our psychology hat on, but
maybe he doesn't mind it so much now because maybe he feels more empowered now to tell Matt Nagy, no, I don't agree with you. No, I don't want to do that. No, let's try this, which is great because I hope he does feel empowered to do that. But man, there's things about Nagy, like you hear things like Cordero Patterson came out, said stuff like, Matt Nagy never wavered. He's our dude. We love him. Like, he seems like the players really rally around Matt. But then there's these moments of just pure arrogance that just drive me absolutely crazy. And I absolutely hated what he said about Mitch that we just talked on.
Sure. So, all right, to finally wrap things up, our guy Johnny B is at the game. He's about a half hour away from watching kickoff between the Chiefs and the Falcons at Arrowhead Stadium with his Chiefs brethren. But Johnny B, as he always does, gives away picks. And we've got two different things. His Johnny B for 3 segment, as we always bring to you each and every week. And then he has some game day picks as a little extra bonus for you as well. And they're a couple, each are a minute long. So we're going to play those for you. And if you're, into gambling and you need to put a few dollars down here before the game start, Johnny B is going to help you make some money from your couch. So here it is, our world famous segment, Johnny B for 3.
Johnny B for 3 here, your weekly picks on Brags in the Stands. What's up, Greg and Jake? And I will be in the stands today. Last week, 4-0. I know it's for 3, Johnny B for 3, but I did a bonus pick 4-0 last week, so let's get into it. I'm taking the Colts -1 today for my first Johnny B for 3 pick of the week. I'm going number 2 pick, the Chiefs -3.5, teased with the Ravens -3.5. Both teams need it. Chiefs going for the first seed. The Ravens trying to get into the playoff and solidify that position. So I'm putting those together, and that's my number 2 pick of the week. My number 3 pick of the week, I'm going with the Bears. -2.5, teased with the Browns. I know that they have some wide receivers that are out, but you know what, Baker? You need to get this done if you want to be an elite quarterback. Browns -0.5, and that's it, Johnny B for 3. Let's make that money. Game day, baby. Let's go. Woo!
Love Johnny.
Let's make that money, baby. I like that. Maybe one day we'll take him up on that because he was 4-0 last week. So if we,
I can't believe you're not just. You should be making picks every week. If I could pick, I would be.
We're in the process of moving
crazy.
Right now. It's
even like just a few bucks, man. Just
I know.
Have fun
I know.
with it,
I'm just never. I gotta get into it. We do it every week with him.
You get used to it. Have fun with it. Even like a $5, parlay or whatever it is that just has like 10 different things you can hit. It's a waiver, but you can win. A pretty good payout for stuff like that.
I definitely do. I listen to guys like Eddie Olczyk on the radio, Mike North. These guys give away picks every week that are hit. They hit. Yeah. Eddie Olczyk every year picks horses in the Kentucky Derby that win. And all these people will be calling in the next week, thanking him for all this money they've won them. And I'm just at work laying brick, trying to make money that way. And I'm always like, man, one day. But I always feel like I'm not going to win when I bet, but who knows? So Johnny B always giving away the picks as he does. Chubb's a huge fan of Johnny B's, as we all here are at Brags in the Stands. And he also was nice enough to give away his game day picks. Now, he did post these on Twitter, but I thought I'd share them along here on Brags in the Stands quickly before we jet on out. So y'all that are still tuning in here, and we appreciate everybody that's tuned in for our Sunday morning special of Brags in the Stands. And here are Johnny B's game day picks.
Johnny B side here with your game day picks. You know what? It's game day for me today, for real. I'll be at Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Chiefs. We're on absolute fire on the game day picks, 26-8. Let me check the numbers. 26-8 on game day picks. 2-1 last week, 4-0 the week before. So let's get these babies rolling without a hesitation. I'm going with Le'Veon Bell, the Kansas City Chiefs, anytime touchdown score. He's the starter today with Edwards-Helaire being out with the injury. And I think they're going to get him rolling. He might even have 2 touchdowns. Who knows? 1 catching and 1 rushing. And then I'm going to go with David Montgomery. The Bears need it. They're going to get it. They're playing the Jags, who don't want it. It ain't going to get it. So I'm going with David Montgomery, anytime touchdown score. And then how about Tyreek Hill, the cheetah? I know they got him listed as questionable, but he's going to be good to go today. 1 touchdown to break the Chiefs' all-time receiving touchdown record, and he's going to get that today. So get your game day picks in. Let's make that money on NFL Sunday. Chiefs and whoever else can make you money, and whoever your team is. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. I think everybody's going to be yelling, let's go. There's Chubbs yelling, let's go in the chat.
Ready.
I think that's the credo of any crazed fan that's ready for more blood. And we all just yell, let's go. And
they could have just stuck it out and beaten that damn Lions team. This game could have been the playoff clincher. So it's damn. Yeah, defense needs to step up and absolutely knock this team out.
It's a game of inches. And Herman Edwards summed it up best once by saying the difference between a 10-6 team and a 6-10 team is about 5 plays. And it's 100% the truth. And that's why, you can have such, polarizing opinions, and you got little Kevin Big D in the chat and then on Twitter trolling you every day, talking about how terrible the Bears are. And then you'll have another guy on Twitter like Brendan B. Schultz that's saying, hey, if they just make these minor adjustments, then they can be a 10-win team. How can that be? They're terrible. But it's a game of inches, minor adjustments. Coaching matters. Your team, it's a team game. It's a team sport from the front office to the coach to the players. This isn't the NBA, as Jason Kelsey said last week. You can't draft a LeBron James and everything. Even the Jacksonville Jaguars, if they get Trevor Lawrence and they do their job today and lose, then that doesn't guarantee them any kind of Super Bowl wonders. The Chiefs had to build a foundation and then put Patrick Mahomes into that foundation to become the juggernaut that they've become. So the Bears are striving to get to that goal. Can Mitch Trubisky be a guy that leads a franchise? I don't know. I used to think that was a foregone conclusion a couple years ago, and that all has been stammered by some very poor to average play here from the Chicago Bears. But is it too little too late? I don't know, because now all of a sudden they have an opportunity to make the playoffs. They have an opportunity to right some wrongs this year. And if people want to downplay that,
if they get to the playoffs and he's still playing good football, he's going to get an offer from the Bears. It's going to, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. And if he accepts it, I don't know what it is. But the Bears are going to be in position, if they make the playoffs, where they're going to be out of a running for one of these top quarterbacks. And it's be in their best interest to at least give him a 2-year deal, something like that. That's not a big cap buster.
Right.
But something like that.
I'd be for that as long as he continues to play well, obviously, and beats Jacksonville, beats Green Bay, plays well in the playoffs. Those are some of the check marks I still got to see. I'm not, people act like, oh, now you're back to washing balls. No, I want to see him prove it just like everybody else. I just say it in a different way than the tough critics of this team.
I think if you could get Mitch on a 2-year deal, a team-friendly 2-year deal, and you still bring in a quarterback next year that maybe you like later in the rounds, or a free agent that maybe you like, I don't know, and you let him
more than likely a draft pick.
Yeah, a draft pick, something like that. And you let them compete, give them a year. And let's say this draft pick, for some reason, is pretty impressive prospect. Maybe you can trade Mitch in the second year, or I don't know. But
some of these variables, you don't know what other teams. You don't. I mean, how well he plays. You don't know if other teams will be knocking on his door. You don't know if he wants to come back here. You just don't know. As you were trying to tell somebody, they do have the option of the franchise tag, as silly as that sounds. So there's some different things at stake here, and I would personally be shocked in any scenario if Mitchell Trubisky's still on the Bears next year. I would be happy if that is the case, because then that would mean I would be shocked, but I would be happy, because then that would mean that all those things you said just happened, or dare I say, they made a Super Bowl run to get there and either win or lose. If something like that happened, then 100% they're bringing him back. But we haven't gotten to that point yet, so I'm not there.
Even if the Bears are in a position to trade up for one of these quarterbacks, it might still be in your best interest to have Mitch on this team. If it's a 1-year deal or whatever it is at that point, sure. But I think it really comes down to Mitch and if he wants to be here, because I do think the Bears are going to offer him something, because it is in their best interest to have somebody here. I know Nick Foles has his option, but he's Nick Foles. So
not what it's interesting, and they've got hope, they've got life, and you're seeing a new energy from this team, and hopefully they step up to the plate today and do their job and beat a team in the Jacksonville Jaguars that are trying to lose. We are trying to win desperately, and they are trying to lose desperately. So if there is anything other than a blowout, then I can understand people being upset. I'll take a win anyway. I can get it, but I would like to see them win convincingly today. So, and obviously the offense continue their, upbeat, what they've been bringing to the table the last 4 weeks. And then I want to see the defense get back on track. So
that's the big thing. They need to say, if the Bears are going to do damage in the playoffs, if they do happen to get there, the defense needs to regain some of that swag that they had and start making some plays.
100%. So that wraps things up, for the Sunday morning special. We brought on Brendan from Bears Twitter, also known as B Schultz. You got to see the name and the face from the man of Bears Twitter, and it was fun chopping it up with him. And we wanted to really talk about the general, improvement of the Chicago Bears, as opposed to breaking down the Bears Jags. So you can watch his breakdown all week long and kind of get a better understanding of what the Bears have been trying to do here recently on offense, and of course what they've been doing defensively with Kendall Vildor, jumping into the defensive side of the ball. So we appreciate Brendan, and I want to shout him out first and foremost, being the special guest on today's show. I want to thank all of our viewers and listeners tuning in, hanging out with us all day long. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us and being there, supporting our show all year long here in 2020. We did a Christmas special. I had a lot of fun doing that. You guys are great supporters of ours, and shout out to you, Matt. That's right. We're going to make some noise here. And Bears, Jags, we're going to be doing a post game, so we'll fill you in on everything else coming up here the rest of the week. Enjoy the game today. Bears versus Jags. Bears with new life thanks to this guy. Make sure you donate to the Iowa family. I'm going to mess it up. Tread family. I'll get it out. Make sure you follow my Twitter. Make sure you donate to the University of Iowa Stead Family Hospital. Boom. There, I got it. And thank you. This is Braggs in the Stands. For me, I'm your host, Greg Braggs. This is my co-host, Jake. Enjoy your game day. We hope your fantasy team wins the championship. I talked through the music. The Chicago Bears are back, ladies and